Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today, na Monday, number 4 day for the month of July 2022. My name na Capo Daniel, the Deputy Defense Chief and the spokesman of the Ambazonian Governing Council, aka Sense King, una own countryman. Una welcome for our daily podcast, a program where they bring una meaningful information, fact-based analysis for help we navigate this journey to our freedom, the independence of Ambazonia. Good people of the former British Southern Cameroons, citizens of Ambazonia. The Ambazonian Defense Forces yesterday, Sunday number 3 day for this month for July, they ran carry out the first IED attack in the middle of the town of Bamenda, the capital of Ambazonia resistance. Previously, such weapons then be deployed only at the outskirts, and the bombs and way they don't be used inside Bamenda, it don't always be side bombs, not a buried what we call a ponky. For the first time, this weapon have been deployed in the middle of the city of Bamenda.
July 2022, FM big number.
The explosion, it narrowly missed a target. The propeller them wound three Cameroon terrorist occupation forces as they shoot sporadically in the scene. This is a new strategy in a continued push against the occupation forces for the center city of Bamenda. They done lost a lot of ground for inside Bamenda, and we could take full opportunity for the momentum for continue for push them until we will take back our cities block by block. Ambazonia will be liberated. Video footages of the attack will be made available to our public as they will be waking up today, Monday, in Ambazonia about 7 a.m. In other news, coming from South Africa, one of Ambazonia firebrand, Paachie, will be a member of the Ambazonian Governing Council, the South African mission. He then resigned. He then tender a resignation for public against the rule of the Ambazonian Governing Council, which rule states that members' resignation should be done through their mission. Nevertheless, the public resignation of Paachie in itself is a statement. We go on for help our people them for understand the sequence of events we then lead up to this moment. Paachie then embark on a campaign called Frog Must Go. That means say me then drive all Francophones them or French Cameroon citizens them within they within Ambazonia. A similar campaign it began be launched by Eric Tato for this liberation movement, and at that time all Ambazonian factions them they will reject that campaign as if will rebrand the Ambazonian struggle as a fight between the people of Ambazonia and the citizens of La République du Cameroon, where you go change the narrative. So we fight against the state of Cameroon, where they impose itself against our people them, not against the people of Cameroon or the French Cameroon citizens. Such narrative is crucial in the way the world looks at us and the way La République du Cameroon, their citizens them too, then look at us. A people them wait them too, them be under oppression, that they live with a regime where you no get no legitimacy, you never ever win any election, and they live under a political system where it be imposed upon them by the French government as part of the France-Afrique network of France's former colonies. I go want to take this moment for explain for our people again the position of the Ambazonian Governing Council. When Paachie be put out this campaign out, we be approach Paachie. We tell Paachie, say we like make all Francophone them, Franco-Cameroon citizens or frogs as we call them, make them go back for their country. As a matter of fact, if them go, it will be very good for our struggle, as it will show, say there is a rift between the two people of Ambazonia and La Republique to Cameroon. But just like we be done explain them, it just did the same like refugees. If plenty people they come out for a country, it shows say refugee they act, it shows say that country it get an international problem where the international community in need for solve them. But just because it fine, make plenty people then come out for country for refugee, make it shows say there is a problem. This type of thing, you know, if you go do them physically, we know if you go drive our own people them so that the number of refugees then may increase, so that the war will come hell way. Now the same thing with francophones them or Cameroon citizens or frogs. You no need for drive them, make them go for sure say we not like them or the country it don't separate. Things like that need for happen as a result of incidents them on the ground or the conflict itself. Natural incident, nobody say some person go drive them, just like refugee, you don't need me people then drive refugee before the war go see a problem there. Because if refugee then come out naturally because of a conflict and the insecurity, the war it will take them seriously and it will try to resolve that crisis and that conflict. But if people that they go out now because people that they systematically drive them just for make a political point, then the war will talk say these people they not only una people that they drive una. So there is no problem for solve them. The problem if it's we solve now for solve the people the way they drive una me then go out. So they will always come back for the origin of that particular problem for solve them. If not Ambazonia they drive their own people, that means that we the Ambazonia them would not turn the punish our own people. If na La Republique they make and they run and they fear na La Republique, then they go can't move that factor of fear. They go can't target na La Republique, na the type of attention where you could draw. So if francophone they leave our country because say there is insecurity as a result of the war, then the solution for the international community will go attract them. Na say me they can solve that war. But if they come out, now because say now we Ambazonian they would chase them out. That means say the Ambazonian they chase them out, they don't become now the problem. The solution it go target na them. They will say me then stop these people where they do a xenophobic attack. We don't always try for proof for the war. Say na La Republique they target we just because of who we are, not because we fight war or our soldiers, but they target na innocent civilian. We know if we turn for do the same thing. Who they talk say na way La Republique do am a bad, na why that would fight them and na why that we want the international community for come. If we turn for do the same thing, they will go attract the same negative type of interest who want me the international community get them against La Republique for ourselves. Would them explain them? Say when you do a campaign they define the conduct. What did this one mean? That means say the world it look how Ambazonia did the campaign. What their action for ground it do, they interpret them by the articulation of which way their leader they talk and which way their activists they talk. If they talk every day for their speeches, say me then key Cameroon their military, me then remove Cameroon their administrator, me then stop Cameroon their school. As a campaign, then the world they look all action for ground say these people they try now for kill Cameroon their military, they try now for drive Cameroon the administrators, and they ban na Cameroon their school. It define the actions on the ground. So if some one person go do something where it not be defined, they go look and like just a random issue where they not feel ready take and say now the conduct that means that the behavior this for the general struggle. So now why that we talk say it not fine for do a campaign for frog must go. It not mean say we oppose semi frog they no go. But I say we talk say you know find me you do like a campaign. Because when you do like a campaign, now you don't make me them brandish the whole struggle as being driven by xenophobia. Then it will be counterproductive. It don't mean say it will backfire for we. So this type of thing, if people they want to do me then go do them on the ground. But me they not start now for using like a campaign. We don't make this point severally, but in return, past year, when I start this campaign recently for social media, it then turn into blackmail, and it try for inform people they follow it, say the Ambazonian Governing Council they try for sabotage it campaign because they no support for drive frog them, make our people then get them clear. We no support say me patch here it make a campaign, but we support the principle say if I may frog them go, but we know the support na the campaign. Now two different things. We know if you say it be necessary say every day we would wake up for people that head frog must go. Even when our people they die for inside Aquaya, We no go she don't find waiting for talk about them and for find solution them. But we only then I say frog must go. War get different angle them. You know if you focus only for one side. Even if you focus only for diplomacy, you go lost because by the time you want finish diplomacy, they will tell you say action no day. You focus for action, by the time you want finish action, they will say diplomacy no day. You need multiple front for fight against an enemy. But if one man, they say me all man join for follow only one way, then it will be problem. It will take away resources and it will take away attention for things the way they come up where you need our attention. So make them, but then be free for do whatever they want. But they need to understand the consequences where you get them for the whole struggle. And we need to make that point. And they're not supposed to see our opinion about their campaign as a sabotage. It be based on principle and it don't be well articulated where they're not supposed to begin twist our talk.
I don't see her say I know if manage because I know if they inside driver stand for one place, they only tell me say no worry, we go reach Boya. We go reach Boya. So the two main things
So basically, Bar Chair it accused the Ambazonia Governing Council say it be stagnant. This is far from bringing the truth. We have a roadmap. We have our programs that are ongoing. We are leading in terms of providing inspiration to our struggle. We are leading in terms of diplomatic efforts and diplomatic engagement, as well as the mobilization for our forces, for maintain a physical presence and for display that physical presence in many aspects. Will be the main organization where they push for community schools, as well as putting in place a stabilizing transitional authority for fill the gap as we kick Cameroon out of our territory. The Ambazonian Governing Council, it don't be always innovative, it not be stagnant, it don't bring plenty projection the way other forces that don't pick up on. We remember from the time where our soldiers they start present themselves, they be the Corden and Changshu. They don't come out for develop a uniform. We see all forces that don't adopt them. We don't come for demonstrate strength and even for show our capability for being motorized. Other forces that don't pick up on and will continue for inspire our nation, make we move forward towards independence. So Pache be far from the truth, but make we listen for a reason the way it don't put them nevertheless.
Take decision. One, that the heavy backbiting way they inside the Eagle Sea, the manipulation and of it with Stanham. I be clean and clear, you cannot bottle me.
So patch here, it talk say egg of seed and get backbiting. Patch here need to understand, say in a movement which is a political action with a military approach, there is always consultation, there are always discussion in the background. Discussions about state matters considered as backbiting is just, I think, intellectually immature. People will always discuss behind, they will always brainstorm, they will always express the position of the organization. That is how consultations are made. That is how people get to understand differences and approach and what people are actually doing. This is not called backbiting. If Pache in the year Ambazonian Governing Council officials them, they talk for people them in members, is supporters, and people them way them be for this campaign, now for gain understanding and for be able to explain our position and the way we see things them. For if a label them a backbiting is just wrong, without saying much. Let's listen to what he has to say.
And so I come out. The other one, now a very big one, no matter how they sugarcoat and fix them, we all know, say France, now a no-go zone, especially when we never get our independence. France, now a no-go zone, a heavy manipulator. No matter how time I've done the talk, say we are being sold to they want turn Ambazonia may become a corporation, a Western corporation, and so we know we stand for that. If we say independence, we mean real independence. And so now the two main reasons in that we are the commode. and no one be part of an organization where they bully people, they use systems for deceive people, where they use not only language. People can talk very well, but we need action on the ground.
So, Pachia, he accused the Hague of C. So Wango sell Ambazonia for francs. This is just ridiculous. He not even deserve a response. It's just pure stupidity. I think he lacks excuses to give. We will never sell Ambazonia. Ambazonia does not belong to anybody to be sold. It is not the property of the Ambazonia Governing Council. It is the property of all our citizens. The Ambazonia Governing Council is just a movement. It's just an organization, a vehicle that fights for our freedom. Even if we have independence and we have a government in place, that government is just custodian of the sovereignty and the sovereign power. It cannot sell the country. If the government can only sell what it owns, the government do not own the country owns the government. For anybody to think that Ambazonia can be sold is just ridiculous. The Ambazonia Governing Council, for that matter, is one of the solid nationalist movement that will always fight to preserve Ambazonian nationalism. Are we engaged with all countries in the world? Yes, definitely we are engaged. Are we engaging with the French government? To a lesser extent, but definitely we have to. We have seen French parliamentarians such as Nadot carried our situation and our problem into France itself. If we understand that, maybe understanding the actions of Honorable Weber will be appreciated by every Ambazonian. Say carry our problem right into the house where they keep we hostage for La Republique. If we talk for inside La Republique, their parliament, it be a good thing. And we think say if they be make our case for that house effectively, it will be a good thing, then definitely any person not will get any issue with Ambazonia campaigning and making the French people for understand, say that they act as they keep a slave for inside Ambazonia. This one, it actually just be strange. We are not engaging France as a measure push for our struggle. As a matter of fact, the Ambazonia Governing Council will prefer the United States of America playing a major role amongst many other countries that Ambazonia Governing Council is in contact with. If we have to put the list of the countries that we are in contact with or that we are pushing our files within, France will not even be significant. It will not be mentioned as a major partner. So what Pachia is saying is just finding fault. He's just doing a simple blackmail. We welcome criticism, but we will not stand when people blackmail us. Criticism is acceptable. If you criticize us on facts, I think we will respect that and will articulate that. But when you come out and you lie, what respect do you expect from people who are sacrificing so much for their country? Pachia had been kicked out of the South African mission for being disruptive and misconduct due to this particular campaign. That is not something that is very significant, but we respect his resignation. Even though he wasn't a registered member, nevertheless, we consider him as a member of the Ambazonia Governing Council, and his resignation is accepted. We wish you good luck, and we will continue to express the principles and the policies of the Governing Council and which will stand on major issue where they affect our whole liberation and the life of our people. Our people, they need to know. Say when war is start, country they always call their citizens the meet and come back. So for the Ukrainian war, we see how Ukraine they call their citizens the meet and come back for can fight war. We also see how Russian they call their own people the meet and come back, meet and fight war. But we never see Russia it come out it talk say make them drive Ukrainian them from inside Russia, or Ukraine it drive Russian them from inside Ukraine. We don't actually see say Russian and they or Russian speaking Ukrainian them where then they send the frog them where they be done grow for inside Ukraine where they will come out for Russia. Some of them don't join the fight. We don't see town the way Russia that capture them. Where the same people they talk country talk for Russia where they come out for Russia come settle for Ukraine, they don't come out for protest. Unfortunately, we not give the same example say Francophone they protest, so we not get no sympathy with them. Make man no make mistake. We know also no thing say just because say if they drive their people them for our territory, then they go drive our people for their own territory go mean anything. No, this is not our argument. Our argument I just say for the campaign about such things them it be counterproductive. because not be everything the way you need for make a campaign for. This one are one of those things them. Sometimes actions speak louder than word when it comes for this type of things. Word will actually make things spoil. This is one of those. Every citizen then get right for mobilize themselves and for take action with them feel say it best represent the interest of our country. But me they do and so responsibly. Our position, it will continue to be for advise those people them way them believe for drive frog them as a measure policy. We will continue for advise and say it no fine for campaign about them. Such campaign them, it will backfire because it will define and it will redefine our struggle. We'll be oppose them when Eric Tato be bring them, not be because it's a man, it be heady. We'll be opposed at that time based on this same principle them will dance the articulate them for our people. When people them, they go against principle them, where they never articulate how to mitigate this principle. It always bring a crack line within any revolution or within any movement for the enemy for exploit them. We will see the type of character them where they line up behind this patch issue. For the most part, are people with very suspicious character who have backed things that have always been things to hold us Ambazonia down. That does not mean that everybody backing it of those category, but it is worth noting the type of people that we see now campaigning for this thing, including French Cameroon people that Pache himself has labeled them as people who are working for La Republique. Shine your eye and put Ambazonian first, put your flag first in everything you do, in every group you join. That should be the mantra. In the Ambazonian Governing Council, we will continue to put country before organization and organization for country. We are for Ambazonia flag, we are for Ambazonian nationalism, and we are for patriotic principles. God bless you. Capo Daniel, signing off.